Hello everyone, welcome to a Descent Journeys in the Dark 2nd edition. This is my strategies and tactics 4. If I get this out of the way. Oh dear, hold on. Wait. Okay, and focus, thank you. It's the Marshal class, hooray! Right, so this is definitely an interesting class. I can actually tell you this much. It certainly plays a little bit different than other warrior classes. Well, let's actually get into this class so we can actually find out what I'm actually talking about. So what do you actually start with first? You got the Warhammer, which is a reach weapon. Excellent. And it's a blue and a red. That's even also good because you don't really get anything like this. However, it is a two-handed weapon, and you cannot spend any surges to recover fatigue, which is a huge downside. However, you can actually spend one surge for +2 damage, which is pretty good. So the good thing is it's +2 damage with reach, and of course blue-red. However, you cannot spend any surges to gain any fatigue is a huge downside. You may definitely want to get a different weapon quite quickly, unless you're actually fine with that. Anyway, next is you have the Signet Ring. So you exhaust this card when you or adjacent heroes attack before rolling dice are rolled to add one shield to result, and it is just a trinket. So in other words, it's just like a shield. But you have to use it before the dice are rolled, and it's for yourself or another hero. I think it's really good. I quite like it. And you start off with a skill, of course, and it is called Retribution. So you exhaust this card after a monster within 2 spaces of you resolves an attack that affects another hero. That monster suffers 2 damage and it only takes 1 fatigue. Good, I guess. Well, the only downside is that if you're not within 2 spaces of the monster, for example, it has range, then this card just might not be all that great to begin with anyway, as yet again it does state affects another hero. So if the overlord's just going to keep attacking you, then you're not really going to get this card up and running. Also, it might be better if there's at least 3 or 4 heroes, so it gives your gives more targets for the overlord. But of course, as I was saying about range, if you're not right next to them and the overlord actually shoots at a hero, then you're not going to be in range. I'm not saying it's a bad card. I'm not saying I'm just saying it's not a good card to start off with, but there's ways to rectify that. So I'm going to leave that there because that's slightly important. Oh wait, does that mean there's a little combo coming up? Oh, it probably is. But let's start off with what you're going to be spending your experience on, or not on. As we start with Shockwave. That's right, focus, that's it. Right, you exhaust this card when you perform an attack with a melee weapon with 2 hand icons. So fortunately you actually do start with a 2-hand icon. Really? Right, before dice are rolled. Oh no, I don't like those type ones. If that attack deals 1 or more damage after a defense roll, each monster adjacent to your target suffers a damage and only takes 1 fatigue. Right. I don't like this card at all. I don't think it's very helpful or useful whatsoever. 1, you have to use it, so you spend in 1 fatigue after dice are rolled, and of course 1 in 5 chances of getting that stupid X. 2, you must do at least 1 damage. and it states after defense roll. So yes, again, you could be spending a fatigue. No, that's 42. 3. It's only dealing 1 damage to the adjacent target. So it might be okay if the overlord, if you know that the overlord just plays with lots of small monsters, but that's highly unlikely, because of course some of the missions actually states that you've got to use some big monsters. Oh no, shaky cam, oh no. The other one is that you got to use a two-handed hand icon weapon, but that's fine with me. And it also must be a melee weapon. So lots of downers for just 1 damage. Leave it at home. It's not all that good at all. So I still had that card sitting there. So what's going on? I don't know. Let's check another one, shall we? Zealous Fire. Exhausts this card when an overlord plays an overlord card to recover 1 fatigue. Right now, that's awesome. As you can easily get, stop it. Right, as you can easily just get a fatigue just like that, just for every single overlord card. Well, when I say every overlord card, because you do actually have to exhaust it, you're probably getting an additional fatigue almost every overlord turn. Just the one, of course. Right, when you refresh this card, choose 1 monster within 2 spaces of you. That monster suffers 1 damage. Yeah, there's no downside to it. It's just the top part is already an upside already. Yeah. The second part is just a bonus. So absolutely go with it. Get it. Steal it while the overlord isn't looking or something. I like it. Easy way to get your fatigue back. And of course, just a little bonus. A monster within 2 spaces for you just suffers 1 damage. Oh, wow. That card is still there with no other cards? Oh no. What's going on? Maybe just reward can help. Oh, I can't seem to get the shadow correctly. Right, okay. Exhaust this card when the overlord activates a monster group. Wow. That's interesting already, isn't it? Yeah, I thought so. So, while this card is exhausted, each time a monster that is within your line of sight and in that group, so of course it's a chosen group, resolves an attack that targets another hero, just like that card there, within 3 spaces of you, you may force the overlord to discard 1 overlord card from his or her hand at random after the attack, and that's only 2 fatigue. Alright, so good thing is of course it's within a hero within 3 spaces of you, and of course forcing the overlord to discard cards. That's really good. And of course it's a group, so you may want to go ahead that has more to it. And well, it's hard to explain because yeah, it's again, they must be within your line of sight, and the overlord can actually do some really harsh maneuvering by making sure that they're not in your line of sight. I've done it a few times by making sure that my monsters are out of other people's line of sight, but it is quite hard. So it does take 2 to use, and the overlord could just actually do something completely different with them. Well, I'm gonna put that over there. I do like the card. it kind of makes the overlord might do other things instead, unless the overlord doesn't actually have any cards in their hand. Then who knows, or perhaps that the overlord doesn't care about those cards. Well, that's all the level 1s done. So next we have ones that take 2 experience points to cast. To cast? To buy. Ugh. Well, let's get this over and done with. Right, firstly, we have Vigilant Watch. Exhaust this card when a monster enters a space adjacent to you. While this card is exhausted, each time a monster moves out of a space within 2 spaces of you, that monster suffers at 1 damage, and it does take 1 fatigue to use it. Now, this is like, well, if you move away from me, it's going to hurt. And it's within 2 spaces as well, so when it comes down to maneuvering monsters to get out of the line of sight, yes, that works. Of course, it does take 3 fatigue to use that. And of course, if you try to use Retribution as well, that's another 1 fatigue. But hey ho. So you have, if you move out of my line of sight, I'm going to damage you. And if you attack anyone else, I'm going to damage you. If you attack anyone else that's within my line of sight and within my spaces, you're going to discard cards. So that's a nice something. Now I know I said something because we're not quite done yet. Here we have another level 2 with Ironbound Glaive. Exhaust this card after a monster within 2 spaces of you resolve an attack that affects you. Perform an attack that targets that monster. Hooray! Straight away we've got a counter. But there's more. Then you may test your knowledge. If you pass, suffer a stamina, and that monster gains 1 condition of your choice, and it doesn't even cost anything. Right, so you have Vigilant Watch and I Am the Law, which both affects just you. Then we have Retribution and Just Reward, which affects other heroes. So right now, with all of that, that's a nice little combo right there. Yeah, with something like this, when you don't actually have to test your knowledge. If you've got low knowledge, don't bother about it. It's just that you can actually do a counter attack. That's what it is. The condition I'll probably pick would probably be poison, or stun, or immobilized, or even doom. All depends. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's get them out of the way. So we have by the book. So you exhaust this card when an overlord plays an overlord card. You test your knowledge. Add the amount of shields to the result equal to the experience cost of the overlord card. If you actually pass, the overlord places that card face down on top of the overlord deck without resolving the effect. If you fail, suffer a fatigue. It does take 1 fatigue already, so when it comes down to the 3 experience point cards, you're not really going to get that over and done with, because of course that's going to be very hard to test, especially if you have low knowledge. It's like Alice Rain, who comes with the Manor of Ravens box. She has a knowledge of 4. So if you want to try and get rid of a third experience point card, it's going to be really, really tough, because you need blank or 1. So really, this card is best to deal with the basic cards, or at least 1 experience point card. If you have actually a good enough knowledge, that is. 3 or 4 is fine. Well, actually, that's the best you could probably get. As the lower ones, you probably should just ignore this card already. yeah, you know, just like keep putting them on a face down on the overlord deck and just keep laughing. Alright, let's put that down to one side, and now we actually have the ones that takes 3 experience points. Let's start off with Last Stand. Okay, so you exhaust a card when a hero within 5 spaces of you is knocked out. Remove your figure from the map and place it in the hero space. Then you may perform an attack, as long as there's actually monsters around. As I already said before, that the overlord can just shoot other heroes and knock them down. Right, well anyway. When this card refreshes, you may revive one knocked out hero in your space. And it only takes 2 fatigue. Right, good things about it is that you could potentially make an attack. Of course, always in the overlord turn. It's always nice to do stuff in the overlord turn. And revive someone without an action. That's within 5 spaces of you. Even if you don't do the attack, it's like reviving someone that only takes 2 of your fatigue, and you both still get your actions. Not too bad, really. Yeah, the true downside is actually the Shadow Rune campaign, the fight finale, because you don't actually get knocked out, you just die. So this card becomes wasted if you actually play that, which is a real shame. But anything else is all legit and fine. Not too bad. But if we go for the last one, which is Crushing Blow. So you exhaust this card when a monster within 2 spaces of you in your line of sight performs an attack that deals no damage. Perform an attack with a melee weapon with 2 hand icons that targets the monster. If you do, remove all defense dice from the target's monster's defense pool during this attack, which is absolutely awesome. So it's a monster within 2 spaces of you in line of sight that performs an attack. Attack whom? Anyone. Yourself or any other hero. But they've got to deal at least no damage. So if someone's got good armor, or perhaps even using your Signet Ring, if you've got what the Signet Ring is, it's this right here. You know, use that. There's no fatigue cost involved whatsoever. I think it's an absolute brilliant skill, especially when you other people will actually have like a black defense dices. Well, that's all of that dealt with. I think it's time to know what you want to actually find. Right. So we'll start with our Act 1 shop. What are you actually going to be looking at? Sorry, I've got some space here. Right. Maybe an iron battle axe, just because yeah, again, 2 hand icon, nice pierce there, damage potential so far better than the warhammer. Almost the same really, except that you have a pierce 1 automatically, and you can do a pierce 1 as well. Right, bearded axe, pierce 1. If it has no shields after the pierce, plus 2 damage. So yeah, that's great. A halberd with reach. You can reroll a power dice if you want, do plus 2 damage. Chainmail, just an extra grey dice. Only 150. It's always nice. Probably one of the best items in the game. Minor weave, just to add a surge to result. Lucky charm, right? Reroll an attribute test. You know, just for your knowledge test for by the book. And I am the law as well. yeah, you may want to have that if you're going for those skills. Another one is Ring of Power, just to get the extra stamina. So you could definitely get more stamina. This is just a quick go through because there's quite a lot of items anyway. You probably just go for your own. In Act 2, maybe the Glaive, which is always nice. All those yeah, well, of course, attacking with a non-adjacent target gives you an extra red power dice. And most of the time you probably would be attacking non-adjacent, especially when against the overlord deciding to do things that allows you to attack that's not within adjacent to you or whatever. Right, grinding axe. Everyone likes a grinding axe. The Ironbound Glaive, which again has reach +3 and PS3. A Hammer of Doom, with a nice set of damage there, plus Doom and reach, of course. Coolplate, giving you +2 health and an extra grey dice, defense dice that is. Obsidian Scale Mail, you can't be cursed. Each time you attack and suffer no damage, you recover 2 stamina. You may only perform 1 skill or ability per turn. Oh well. Black dice. Considering that all of your skill stuff doesn't actually have any skills, but still, anyway. Star of Kalos, giving you 1 additional green. If you hit, you're going to hit hard. Golden Mask, each time you perform an attack, all X counts as blank, so therefore when it comes down to counter attacking, you are going to hit. Shroud of Dusk, it's mainly to give you an extra knowledge, really, you know, just for your knowledge tests. Well, that's really all I have. I don't really have anything else for the Marshal class. Doing things in the overlord turn is always going to be fun no matter what, but it could be quite hard as it's not quite like the other classes where you're just doing, and I'm doing this and then this. Because it's like, I don't know if I want to do this just yet, or I don't have enough fatigue left to do this and this, so it might be a class to think about before doing anything else. Really, a good class for at least 3 to 4 other heroes. 2, maybe not so much. Well, anyway, that's it. Thank you very much. Bye.